Deputy O'Quayle.
Taoiseach, do you recall the Labour Party advertisement in the course of the last general election that read, "Look what Fine Gael has in store for you. Fine Gael, every little hurts." And prominently featured was water tax at the suggested cost of €238 per annum. Now, yesterday, the Taoiseach confirmed the accuracy of that Labour Party ad by stating that the average water tax to be imposed on people by this government will be €240 per annum. Now, does the Taoiseach agree, and I'd ask him to listen to these statements, does he agree that the imposition of water tax is half-baked, that the government has not thought through details of key issues like metering, standing charges, the ability to pay and conservation? And does he agree that it would not survive public scrutiny if left in its current form? Does the Taoiseach agree with those sentiments that were expressed by a Labour Party voice to the Irish Times yesterday? Do you agree with those statements, Taoiseach? Do you believe that your party is of one mind with Fine Gael in relation to these matters, or are you even at one mind with yourselves in relation to what people are saying? And how can you reconcile these statements with the fact that despite all that you warned the electorate about back in 2011, you went into government with Fine Gael with your eyes wide open, you negotiated a programme for government, you supported the inclusion of water tax, and in fact on each of the occasions going forward you have supported that proposition, including on the last sitting day of 2013, when you, with Fine Gael, rushed through legislation at that particular point in time without scrutiny and without proper debate. Where does the Labour Party stand in relation to what is now proposed?
Thank you. Taoiseach.
Well, you know, this is typical of Sinn Féin. You don't give a curse as to how it will impact on the people. All you care about is how it's going to play politically. Every single. Please. What we don't.
Okay, you had your 30 seconds.
What of course we don't hear from Sinn Féin and never will hear from Sinn Féin is how you propose to ensure that the people of this country have an adequate and clean and satisfactory supply of water into the years ahead. You've never made a proposal in relation to it. You have never made a proposal as to how water is going to be supplied in front of you. And of course,
you can't display documents.
And of course, you conveniently ignored the fact that the previous government had agreed. The previous government had agreed in the memorandum for understanding that it signed with the Troika that the charging for water would be on a full cost recovery basis. A full cost recovery basis, Deputy O'Quayle, would involve a charge at a minimum of about €400 per house to the smallest level of household. As you now know, the proposal that the government is considering involves a very substantial subsidy from the state for the provision of water. The issue of what level the charge will be at and how it is structured is an issue that is under consideration by the government. And as I've said earlier, it is an issue that we are considering in the context of how we will do the metering in the fairest and most reasonable way, and how also we will ensure that the issue of ability to pay is addressed. But of course you're not interested in any of that because you're away in some kind of a fairy tale, and the only thing that we can be sure about is that if Sinn Féin had its way, this country would not only be not out of the bailout that it was plunged in by the last government, but would be right in the middle of a second one with the enormous consequences that that would have for public expenditure, for taxation and for the delivery of services to the people.
Deputy O'Quayle.
Well,
Without
there's
interruption,
there's no
please, thank you.
surer indication that you're hitting the right button when the heat comes back like that, because you know there was such calm in the earlier response. What is right is because we are right on the button. So let's eliminate. Let's
have a supplementary question, please.
Let's eliminate it, the anonymity in relation to Labour Party commentary to any paper or media. Let's quote a Labour Party deputy from this morning. Let's ask you again, Taoiseach, do you agree with the statement this morning by Labour deputy Kevin Humphreys that Fine Gael in government has, and I quote, acted in a dishonourable manner? I'm asking you now, do you agree with what Deputy Humphreys has said? And isn't it the truth that the Labour Party has, decided long ago to impose water tax on every single household across this state, irrespective of the ability to pay of the household itself?
Thank you.
And isn't it the case that you have fully, when you hear this nonsense coming back, you know that Labour are under pressure. You're under pressure. And it's not just water pressure. Isn't it the case that you have participated in this staunchly from the beginning, and you are co-hosts of the introduction of what is now proposed?
Thank you.
And isn't it the case, Taoiseach, just in conclusion, that all of the posturing by yourself on the television screens and the other commentary that I've just indicated is because you are facing an electorate on the 23rd of May, and you're trying by any and every means to try.
Thank you, Deputy O'Connor.
Of yourself, of the positions that you have articulated for years, and the abandonment of your respective electorates.
Honestly.
Well,
Would you please? Would you mind, please?
I think there's one thing that I can't be accused of, and that's of making decisions to court popularity. After what this after what this government after what this government
Now listen, if some members here insist
after what this government has
done
done and decided over the past number of years in the interests of the country and in interests of getting recovery, we're certainly not in that situation. But of course, when it comes to posturing, Deputy O'Quillan, nobody comes in second place to Sinn Féin. You're presiding over a regime. Your party is presiding over a regime in Northern Ireland where the average property tax and water charges is €950, and you come in here,
Will you stay quiet, please? Honestly, you're not being listened to. Would you mind winding up for overtime?
The only thing I can say to a Deputy O'Quillan is it's partitionist hypocrisy.
Deputy Collins, thank you.